Good morning, students. Today we are going to begin with lesson number 2, data and its storage. As we have already studied about how the data is converted into information after the processing, here in this chapter we explore about how the data is represented in a computer and where is the data stored. So let's get started. First of all, a computer works on electricity and it can detect if an electric signal is present or absent. This is represented by using two digits 0 and 1. For example, 0 stands for off and 1 stands for on. This is the reason all computer data is shown by numbers in the binary system. Basically, binary numbers are made up of one or more bits. Now what is bit? Bit is the smallest unit of data, or in other words, it is a single digit which holds the value. But when these 8 bits group together, then it becomes as a byte. So this is the reason we say 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. To understand this more clearly, let's take another example. To represent any number or digit like A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, different set of zeros and ones in bit are used. But byte is used to represent small amount of data. So in order to show file with many pages of text, computer requires very large number of bits like kilobyte, megabyte and gigabyte. So up to this much we have learnt in the detail about how the data is represented in the computer. Now next topic is file size. As binary system has a great impact on the sizes of the file, which means the space needed to store the file. I mean text file takes less space as compared to the pictures and music files. For example, a picture file may occupy about 1 to 2 MB of space, whereas 3 minutes music file may take 3 MB of space. Now let's move further to discuss where the data actually stores on the computer and which devices are required to store the data. Computer has memory or storage where all the data is stored, and this memory is mainly of two types, primary memory and secondary memory. Let's discuss primary memory in detail. This memory holds the data and instruction for CPU. This is also called main memory because CPU can get data directly from it on the random basis. There are again two types of primary memory, that is RAM and ROM. RAM stands for random access memory. CPU can read from the RAM and write onto it. This is why it is called read-write memory. But it has one drawback, that the data gets lost when power is switched off. Second type of memory is ROM. It stands for read-only memory. As its name shows that data cannot be written in ROM by a user. It can be read only. So here the data stored permanently and never get lost on switching off the computer. Now we have the second type of memory, secondary memory. This memory is not directly accessed by CPU and data from secondary memory has to be copied to the RAM before it can be used. But it keeps the data permanently, so it is used to store programs and data for the long time. There are some devices which work as secondary memory like hard disk, pen drive, CD, DVD and many more. Let's discuss one by one. First we have hard disk. This is the main permanent storage device inside the computer. The data is stored in the form of zeros and ones on the magnets, which are called platters. Here moving heads read and write data as platters rotate. Second type of the secondary storage device is floppy disk. This is removable disk, which stores the data on the thin disk coated with magnetic material. Floppy disk has very less space. So this is the reason people started using CD and DVD. Now what is CD? CD stands for compact disc and DVD stands for digital versatile disc. To use these, computer needs a drive that can read and write on these discs. Now we have next storage device, pen drive. It uses a chip called flash memory to hold data permanently. So it is called flash drive. It is basically used for backing up and transferring the data from one computer to another and from one device to another device. Last we have SSD. It stands for solid state drive. It has many merits over the hard disk, as it is much faster and does not have moving parts, which are generally problematic in case of hard disk. However, they are very costly as compared to the other devices. So students, in this chapter we have learnt about how the data represented in the computer and how the data is stored in the computer. I hope this chapter is clear to you. Now I request you to complete the back exercise in the book. Thank you.